Pros and cons of indexed universal life. In this educational video episode, I'm going to address the pros of IUL that I feel far outweigh the cons. But there are cons, and I'm going to reveal them to you, and also the pros. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been helping people optimize assets, minimize taxes, prepare for long-term goals such as a comfortable retirement so that you will not outlive your money if you live to be 120. I've been doing this now for nearly 5 decades. My favorite financial instrument, bar none, is a properly structured, maximum funded indexed universal life insurance contract because the pros far outweigh the cons. So let me explain why, and I'm just going to summarize these. There are some cons to indexed universal life because it's not for everybody. It's not for financial jellyfish, okay? It's for those who are disciplined. You must be disciplined. When you set up an IUL policy, it's not really a put and take account like a drive-up window at a bank or a credit union. There is flexibility there, but you don't go into it thinking I'm going to put in, $100 a month or $500 a month, and then I just want to stop if I see a jet ski or a ATV at a RV show that I want, and think that by paying premiums for 3 or 4 months or a year into it, you're set. No, it's designed to be funded the way that you structured it, and you can fund it in as little as 5 years because you're using IUL primarily for living benefits more than the death benefit, okay? It has way more flexibility than like whole life insurance, and it performs better when you maximum fund it and take the least amount of insurance. What are some of the other cons? Well, when you take out an IUL, you must make sure that the person who is designing it knows what they're doing. Probably the biggest con is that agents who sell IUL sometimes do not structure it correctly. So what it basically means is if you were able to earn like I have, 9.6% is what I've averaged since 1980 on my IUL. That's on universal life. On IUL, I've averaged 11.17 because I diversify my IUL and I rebalance, okay? But if I earn 11, I net 10. If you go with a lot of agents, if you could earn 11, which I doubt you will because they don't know how to rebalance, you might be lucky if you earn 8 or 9, but you're not going to net within 1%. If you earn 8, you'll probably only net 4 or 5. If you earn 9, you only net 5. Well, that means the costs were way more than they needed to be. And so the number one reason why it doesn't perform is because the agent didn't know what they were doing. This is why I created a unique coalition called IUL Insiders to train IUL agents how to structure them properly and fund them correctly. And many of them have to go back and redo the ones they did wrong, or they have to reconstruct the ones that were sold wrong by previous agents that now are no longer in the business. It's really sad. And so you have to be disciplined, you have to have it established correctly and fund it the way you want, and it's a long-term goal. It's not a short-term thing. So it's not for financial jellyfish. So those are the biggest cons. Now, what are the pros? It has so many benefits. Watch a lot of the episodes on this channel and you'll see them. I have actually one that outlines 10 major benefits, and I challenge you to show me any other financial instrument that has those 10 benefits. But I'll just summarize them here a little bit. When we talk about indexed universal life and you structure it correctly, you're doing it so that the money you put into the policy accumulates tax-free. Now, you are able to accumulate money tax-free under Section 72E of the Internal Revenue Code. Do you know that most agents don't even know what I'm talking about? And then you want to be able to access money starting after 5 years or age 65 or whatever, and you want to create tax-free income. That if you have $1 million that you've accumulated in there tax-free under Section 72E, Section 7702 says, well, I want to generate tax-free income. Well, if I'm earning 11 and netting 10 cash on cash, and I have $1 million in the policy, I could theoretically pull out $100,000 a year without depleting the $1 million principal, okay? Yep, that's what many of our clients have done. They experience 10% payouts. Those are tax-free under Section 7702 of the code. These sections of the code have been around in one form or another for over 108 years. This is nothing new. Section 101A, that means at the end of the day, any money that is left in the IUL policy blossoms, increases in value, and transfers income tax-free. Nothing else in the code does that. What does this mean? I'm 70, okay? If I died in an accident tomorrow, every million I might have in my portfolio of IUL policies would blossom to at least 2 million and transfer tax-free to my heirs, my spouse, my kids, my grandkids, a church or a charity, doesn't matter. And people say, well, what does that cost? Well, it's not free, but it doesn't cost me anything. It's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money that most people shell out in unnecessary tax. See, I earn 11 and net 10. It's being paid for with that 1% that would otherwise go out the window in unnecessary tax. I'd have to be earning 15% in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k in the market to net 10 after paying the taxes in a 33% bracket. I don't want to take the risk of trying to earn 15 to net 10 when I only have to earn 11 to net 10 in an IUL. Is that a big pro? Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, what a lot of agents don't understand is there's 3 tax citations, and these are acronyms, TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA. This is the Tax Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982, the Deficit Reduction Act of 1984. What do they have to do with it? Well, most agents, they don't even know. Well, that tells me right off the bat, you don't even know what you're doing when you structure this thing. These 2 tax citations dictate the minimum amount of life insurance required based upon the insured's age, gender, and health to accommodate the amount of money they want to put in there. The minimum amount of insurance. You're trying to get the least amount of insurance under TEFRA and DEFRA tax citations. The IRS will let you get away with to put in the most money that you want to put in there so it turns into a tax-free cash cow, so that the cash values will grow to equal or exceed the death benefit in as little as 7, 12 years, 15, 17 years. You're self-insured. Your cash value equals the death benefit and now forces the death benefit up. You're self-insured. It's like buy term, invest the difference on steroids, okay? But they don't understand that TEFRA and DEFRA gives parity. It means equality. It means it doesn't matter if you're a 22-year-old athletic marathon running female or a 60-year-old male or a 78-year-old friend of our family back in the 1980s that came to us. He had 3 blocked arteries, adult onset diabetes, a prostate cancer episode, 6 sisters all predecease him, and 3 brothers predecease him. You'd think he had 1 foot in the grave. Well, we got him approved with an insurance company, Table D, okay, which is he had to pay twice as much. The insurance was twice as much, the cost of insurance, than a normal 78-year-old. But TEFRA and DEFRA allowed us to squeeze down the death benefit so that he was able to earn 11 and net 10 just like a 20-year-old. The cost of the insurance was the same because TEFRA and DEFRA allowed me to squeeze down the death benefit. He put in $500,000 and pulled out $50,000 a year tax-free right off the bat, just like the 20-year-olds were able to. You can't believe how many agents don't understand that. So that's a big pro. Now, TAMRA, the Technical and Miscellaneous Revenue Act of 1988, was passed because the banks and the brokerage firms, the credit unions couldn't compete. They didn't want to kill it because this is where they put 30 to 40% of their money is in insurance companies. They're the backbone of America and the backbone of the world. But they wanted to slow the flow because they couldn't compete. These were safer, they paid higher interest, they were tax-free, and they blossom when you die. And so instead of being able to put in a big lump sum like $500,000, like we did up until 1988, it happened on June 21st of that year. I remember it clearly. You could fund universal life in about 20% a year, about $100,000 the first year, $100,000 the first day of the second year. So after 4 years and 1 day into the 5th year, 4 years and 1 day, you could finally get your full $500,000 in there, and you complied with TAMRA, and your income would be tax-free forever after. If you put in too much money too fast, you violated TAMRA, and it still grew tax-deferred. If you died, it transferred tax-free. But if you wanted to turn on income, it would now be taxable LIFO, last in, first out. If you don't know what that means, you ought to watch another episode. But the point is this: we want to comply with TAMRA if we're setting it up for tax-free income. Okay. And so the people that I train are experts in this. And Teffer and Deffer have to do with calculating the least amount of insurance we can get away with to put in the amount of money that we want to. And Tamara says how fast we can get it in there. So I have compared it to a bucket metaphorically for years. You're designing a bucket that will accommodate your money. Okay. And if it's an IUL, you calculate how much money you want to put into the bucket. So let's say you want to put in $500,000. There's nothing magic about this number, but let's just use consistency here. And you're 60 years old. Well, you can buy a ton of life insurance for $500,000. That's not your objective. You want that $500,000 to generate the best income or grow and double every 7.5 years like mine has. And so you take the least amount of insurance you can get away with. If you're middle age 60 now, you can get away with about $1 million of insurance. Well, what does this mean? When you put in the $500,000, now you may only be able to put in $100,000 the first year under Tamara, $100,000 the first day of the second year. It may take 4 years and 1 day into the fifth year before you get your 500 in there. But once you have 500,000 in there, if it's structured correctly and you're using it for living benefits, you use the level death benefit, which means this 500,000 now is part of the $1 million death benefit. If you die, they pay out $1 million. Now, I could have it added on top, but I don't do that if I want to get the best rate of return. I want the spigot on this bucket, the actual cost of the insurance, to get smaller and smaller as I get older. I want the insurance to get cheaper as I get older. So when I have 500 grand in there, the net amount at risk is the difference between this and this. The insurance company is only charging me on this spigot for 500,000 of insurance. Now that 500,000 doubles to $1 million in 7.5 years based on 9.6% rates of return. When this cash value equals $1 million, the insurance, I'm self-insured. The cost of the insurance is now Zippo. I'm self-insured. My cash value equals the death benefit. Teffer and Deffer says, well, as that cash value grows from $1 million to $2 million in another 7.5 years, if you die, the death benefit has to be 5 percentage points more than the cash value, so it doesn't exceed the definition of tax-free insurance. So when it doubles to $2 million, if I die, the insurance company pays out $2.1 million. But they only charged me for that last $100,000 of life insurance. The cost for that last $100,000 of life insurance is totally covered by the interest you're earning on $2 million of cash value. The cost of the insurance is getting cheaper as you get older because you self-insured within 12 years in this example. You can't believe how many agents do not understand what I'm talking about here. So the pros are unbelievable. So some of the common misconceptions about IUL is that the insurance policy is going to implode. It's going to crash and burn as you get older due to the cost of the insurance going up. No, in actuality, when it's structured correctly and funded properly, the cost gets cheaper as you get older until you hardly have any cost. The cost of the insurance is covered by the interest you're earning on your cash values. You are self-insured, okay? The myth is that level is the devil. No, the only time that you use increasing death benefit is if you're young and you're socking away $500 a month for the next 30 years. But as soon as you finish funding it, you switch to level if you want it to grow the best. No, you use the level death benefit so that when you put in 500 grand, it immediately is qualified as part of the death benefit. The cost of the insurance is getting cheaper real fast. And a lot of agents don't know that. The other myth is that Index Universal Life is simply permanent life insurance that's invested in an index mutual fund. No, that means you would be losing money every time the market went down. The S&P dropped to a loss of 35 to 40% twice in the decade from 2000 to 2010. You would have lost 35 to 40% of your cash value in your variable life insurance. That's variable life. Indexed universal life, your money is not invested in the market. You get to participate when the market goes up, but not lose when the market goes down. So indexing is a strategy where the principal is safe in the policy. You're only giving up the interest on your money to buy upside options. The other myth is if you're using what is called the banking concept, that whole life insurance is superior. Ha! If you really understand indexed universal life, there are years where I have borrowed money out of my policy for working capital for business or whatever, and I will borrow $1 million at 5%. Now I can borrow it too and they'll credit me to it. It's a zero wash loan. But I've borrowed at 5% and earned 25 and even 61. I've had clients that have earned 158%. If you want to use the banking concept, IUL is like the banking concept on steroids. So the point is this: I compare IUL to like a financial Swiss Army knife. It's the dream solution for a lot of financial goals. Yeah, you get the death benefit, but that's secondary. You're using it for retirement planning, for college funding. It knocks the socks off of a 529 college savings plan, working capital, real estate management, emergency funds, lump sum capital transfer from settlements, automobile accidents or whatever, estate planning, pension maximization if you're a school teacher, police officer, or firefighter. This is a way better way to go than to choose a survivor benefit with your pension, put it into an IUL policy and take the no survivor benefit, and general tax reduction. So I've gone enough on this one. Let me just tell you, the pros far outweigh the cons. If you want to prove it to yourself, I would recommend you read this book. It's my 11th book called The Laser Fund. It retails on Amazon for $20, and if you go there and buy one, thank you, but I'll gift you a copy, okay? It's 300 pages, 200 pages, 2/3 of this is for left brain learners, charts and graphs and explanations. The other third, you flip it over and read that 100 pages, and that's 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories of how IUL structured correctly can be used for all of these dream solutions like that financial Swiss Army knife. Here's how you claim your free copy. You simply go to laserfund.com, click on the link below, and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game, but I'll pay for the book. And I'll fire out a hard copy to you. And when you're in there claiming your free copy, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, check out the audio and video versions and the training. Check out the educational webinars we hold on a regular basis. They're free, no charge. And you can even schedule an appointment with an IUL specialist that I've trained that can create some illustrations at no cost, no obligation for you in your particular set of circumstances so that you can see one that's done right and why it has so many pros over the cons.